I'm at Divertimenti with Meera Sodha, who is the author of Made in India. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. This is a fabulous book, and it really traces a lot of your family recipes and things that you grew up with. Tell me a little bit about the kind of inspiration for it.
My mother is the biggest inspiration behind this book. She's a fabulous cook, but I took her for granted for the first 18 years of my life.
As we do.
And I got to university and realised that I was sort of stuck with really terrible university canteen food. I was out sort of craving spice one night with friends of mine on Brick Lane. And we were just in a curry house. And my friends turned around to me and said, Meera, what should we order from the menu? The Rogan Josh or the chicken korma. And I was so horrified that these intelligent, wonderful people thought that this is what I'd grown up eating. This food that was totally misrepresentative of Indian food, and especially the beautiful, fragrant, nutritional, gorgeous, tasty food that I'd grown up with. So I wanted to show them what real Indian food was, only I couldn't cook.
And there's just one small problem.
Exactly. So I rang Mum and said, please can you send me some recipes, because, I've got 10 friends here, and 10 of my uni friends I need to cook for. And she said, darling, I've never written anything down. If you want to learn how to cook, you have to come and watch me. And that's how I learned how to cook, and your mum and your grandma learned how to cook. And I panicked because, I thought, if I don't record these family recipes, then, then there could be generations of recipes lost, and that's my family history. And so I started going back home on a regular basis just to hover over her with a pad and a pencil, sort of stopping her every time she put a teaspoon of this or that in, to be able to watch her and record these recipes. And I suppose what I believe in is that the best Indian food isn't found in any restaurants in this country. It's found in Indian homes. And my book sort of sets out to show you how you can cook that in your own home.
What I love is that you have what I would call some traditional dishes, but a lot of them have your own flair to them. So you were born and raised in Lincolnshire, and so, for example, you have beetroot in something, which wouldn't be an ingredient that we would necessarily associate with traditional Indian cooking. It's something that you brought to bear with it.
That's right. Although I grew up in Lincolnshire, and I think part of the philosophy of Indian food and Indian cookery isn't that it takes the same vegetables and, treats them in a similar way. You sort of use, India as a country is so varied geographically. You don't get the same vegetables growing in there's different climates across from the north to south of India, from west to east. And so using beetroot isn't untraditional. It's actually used in Kerala food. But because I suppose our mentality was to use whatever grows around you. And Lincolnshire is sort of the hotbed of agricultural produce in this country. So we were using a lot of cauliflower and potatoes and peas, but also a lot of sweet potato and butternut squash and beetroot and chards growing up. So it is, I suppose, something that I bring to the book. I love the seasons. I love experimenting with things that grow seasonally. I think they're at their sort of optimum flavour when they're in season. But it's also how I grew up, with the farmers sort of offloading, whether it was pheasants or neighbours who'd grown too much beetroot and courgettes, or an abundance of cucumbers or tomatoes. And
the other thing that struck me is the recipes aren't laborious. They don't take a massive amount of time, which is quite lovely too for the time-pressed cook that wants something tasty.
Yeah, it's something that I was very eager. I really like writing recipes because I think people are intimidated by the idea of Indian food. I have so many people saying to me, oh, I love curry. And I said, would you cook it at home? They said, no, I don't know where I'd get the spices from. It would be so complicated. I don't know how to balance things, And I said, well, everything is available in your local supermarket. And in order to keep the integrity of a recipe, I don't think you need 10 spices. I think, you can create something very wonderful with just a couple. So it's very mindful to sort of keep the recipe simple so that it wasn't intimidating and that it should be easy to cook these recipes at home.
Well, it's a fabulous read, Made in India. Meera Sodha, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, thank you.